Is Sandy okay?
She's fine. She had to run away real quick, so once it gets started up, we'll jump in and we'll go from there.
Sorry about that. She sounds like she's.
One likes meat.
I see him. Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Marcus.
Marcus, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again for the Bottoms of Gaming. I am, of course, Sam Kaichu K. With me here is Necro Nick.
Hello.
Jared.
Hello.
Rebel Vanity, who had to run off real quick. Deathgasm. Mama Bear.
Hello.
Hello.
The Michelle with one L. And Tiny Trisha. Also, in the background is Little Bear. He's going to be part of the Shop with a Cop tomorrow.
Hi.
And made his mother cry.
What did you do?
Necro, your picture is frozen right now.
Yeah, it's score dancing.
Yeah, he's not there right now. We'll see how she feels about this after that. So tonight is a very interesting night. Tonight we are going to be going and doing a strange topic, a presidential debate, y'all.
I can.
Do you like me?
So while we're waiting for Mrs. Vanity to show up, hopefully she will show up. If not, we'll just have to do this without Rebel. Yes.
Nick has said he's getting that error code RTC, correct? Right, Nick?
RTC Connect, restart Discord.
Yeah, close out Discord and go back into it.
Close out Discord, go back
completely
into
close
it,
it out
Nick.
and come back in. Just close
Yeah.
the entire channel down.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a live stream without an error. There's right there. So tonight we're going to go into a strict realm of fantasy, as I'm pretty sure none of us will actually be able to make it.
Welcome to my world.
No.
Okay.
Now try doing it again
What? I'm back.
with your camera.
Ah, okay. Am I back?
There we
You're
go.
back. All right.
Sweet.
So what we're going to do is each one of us is going to take a time to explain our political views. Now, once again, folks, these political views are the Monsters Gaming's their own. Made up or otherwise, this is how we feel. No one's going to like to hear them all. No one's going to want to hear them all. But the point is that after we're done this, I'm going to put up a poll on our page, which will be up for exactly 1 week. So Saturday of next week, we will go down the poll and see what the votes are like. Feel free to vote for whichever monster you would actually vote for.
Probably not me.
I don't think I'll get it either, but we'll find out. So we're going to start off with Juggernaut. Juggernaut's going to explain his political view if he was president and what he will do for the country. So Juggernaut, would you like to take it away?
Hello, I'm Jared Reed. I'm Jared Reed, and if I were president, I would create more jobs, help the veterans and those that need help more than those that are coming into this country illegally. Not saying anything about those that are coming in legally. I would go and try and help our schools, and I would try and help small businesses and include new taxes for the rich and the religion.
Okay. Is that
Now, Jug, I have a question for you. On year one view.
We can
Or on
finish, have everybody talking first?
Yeah.
Technically, if you've ever watched a debate, you watch everyone's opening statements first, then questions.
Gotcha.
All right. Mr. Necro Nick.
I never watched one.
Yep.
I only watched clips of the one where Trump roasted Hillary. Because it was funny as fuck.
Anyway, Mr. Necro Nick, you are up next.
Hello, I'm Necro Nick, and I plan on running for president. one of my things I want to do is I want to help the veterans. I want to make our streets safer. I want to firebomb the whole world. Mind that last statement. Make weed legal in all states. Have a whole rebuild of the whole world. Mind that last statement. Sorry. Anyway, but actually get the right funding and teaching done in school that should be done. Better roadways, because God, if you ever went to Pennsylvania, God damn. And all around try and make it a better fiery place.
Miss Rebel Vanity, are you prepared? Miss Vanity?
I know she's muted.
I know. We'll just skip over to me and we'll come back to her, I guess. Hello, everybody. My name is Kaiju Davison. I'm running for president. I'm a previously used injured veteran of the United States military. I am pro-military. I am pro-war. But most of all, I am pro getting everybody out of the other countries and back to our country where we belong. I am not the person who's going to be a pillar of gold. I am not the hero of this story. If anything, I am the villain. I will bring this country down to its bare balls, and I will bring it back up. I will restructure, repair, and refit this country to the best of my capabilities. I was born poor, I live poor, and I will more than likely die poor. But I will make sure this country is worth living in. I plan on taxing the rich. I plan on removing any special sectors that are not of use, and I plan on restructuring the entire Congress, Senate, etc. I plan to restructure them from the bottom up to make sure that they actually work for the people who it belongs to. That's the American people. Thank you. Oh, okay, so
If you weren't paying attention to the side chat,
I saw. We'll do when she's feeling better. We'll do a single one on the Oscar questions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that you've heard from all of us, we're going to go with our proctors. Mama Bear is a proctor, but she'll be joining once she's done eating. We had a late dinner tonight, so sorry about that. So we'll start with a Mrs. 1L, aka Michelle with 1L. If you wouldn't mind asking a few questions, you can direct them to us, or you can give us all a chance.
Well, should we let DG ask his one question?
Yeah, well, DJ's part of this too. DG, who do you want to ask questions to?
I believe it was Jug.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought. What question exactly it was, or what
I
it was
believe,
exactly?
I believe, sir, you were talking about when I made the comment about illegal immigrants and legal immigrants.
No, it was one of the first two you said.
Well, it was one of the first two from your opening statement.
I made the comment about creating jobs, and
That's the one.
yes.
I'm curious to see how you plan to actually bring jobs back to American soil.
How I plan to bring American jobs back to American soil is those that are willing to work, those that do not have any sort of handicap, either mental or physical. I would create jobs that would go and help. All right. It is mostly to help veterans and those that do have a physical and mental disability. I'm not saying that those that do not have those with disabilities cannot work. I would want to try and cut back on how many people are on the welfare system and Social Security. So those that can sit, they can work from home and take notes. They can do proofreading. They can do jobs that would go and be. It's it's something that needs to be done, and they would be able to earn a living wage, not just minimum wage. There would be a living wage.
No, I completely agree with everything you just said. That's very good. And also, another question, quick question. To
Yes.
those who said tax the rich.
I believe Kyle said that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Kyle and Jug, I believe, both said that.
Yes.
What are you meaning by actually taxing the rich?
Taxing the rich, meaning they pay their fair share of taxes. They don't get any. They don't get any bailouts. They don't get any sort of lower tax rate.
As
If
for
you
They
myself,
really
pay.
think
They pay their
with
fair
how
share.
our tax system works, though, it's in the percentiles and like what they make. They like. I
If it's
think my
for
tax bracket, I pay anywhere from like 10 to 20%.
I believe it's around
for
15% for everybody. Yeah.
for example, if to tax the rich, there should be no lower tax rate if the more money that a corporation makes. It should be a fair tax rate for corporations as well as American privatized citizens, as American citizens.
As for myself, a flat 15% tax bracket across all budgets, regardless if you are of the lower income, middle income, or upper income. 15% is an equal number for every group there is, whether you make 15 million
50.
or 15%, sir.
Oh,
Whether you make $50 million or $5,000 in a year, 15% is still the same amount percentage wise. Just because you make $15 million doesn't mean you should be paying less for a country that's currently in a major amount of debt, so that you can go throw several large parties and get your teeth covered in diamonds.
I don't disagree with you, but the way our tax brackets are set up, they pay a significantly higher percent than like me.
No,
Like,
the amount they pay is around 1 to 2%, which may be more money, but it's still not 15%. 15% is an equal number across all borders.
See, as a person that works, we're getting taxed more than the rich.
Yes, I do believe that they are
I
getting the
really find that
incentives to
hard to
bring the
believe.
jobs in. And so if you want to create more jobs, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you want to create more jobs, but you want to tax the rich more, the rich will leave and then the jobs leave.
Where will the rich go?
Not necessarily. Well, they've gone other places. I've seen this going on. But what I'm getting at is, so there would be no incentive to start businesses. That's
Is
how
it,
a lot of these are utilized.
how are we supposed to be able to keep our country afloat if we keep letting them get off with the money? McDonald's made over
I
$15
agree.
billion last year and had to pay a grand total of
Yes,
$211 million back to the government.
yes.
How is that fair?
Massachusetts tried. I agree. So are you going to tell the states then that they can no longer, my question would be, that they no longer have the control of the incentives and discounts that they give to the rich?
That would be correct.
Because ultimately that's what's going on.
That's correct. If you're too rich to pay the money that you require to live in this country, you can leave the country, but your businesses will be shut down in this country as well.
Okay.
America is one of the leaders in production of purchasing and selling of goods. We are in the upper three, I believe. I believe the only ones that are higher up than us are China, and I do believe, don't quote me on this, but I do believe Korea, South Korea. Um, and they are much smaller and much harder to have businesses open in, and require far more laws, such as being able to pay people as Mr. Juggernaut said, a living wage that they set and your company does not. We are the ones that allow the freedom of choice when that matter. All you have to do is pay an equal amount of money back to us so that we can share and bring our country out of the green or out of the red. Because currently we are trillions, if not quadrillions, of dollars in debt, and right now nobody is making any attempt to fix it.
One of the things that I would like to bring up is in Pennsylvania, you have what are called KOZ tax-free zones. You have companies that will come in, not have to pay a dime in taxes for 7 years. And before those 7 years are up, they pack up and leave. I would make it illegal for them to be able to do something like that.
And that would be zones. Yes.
That's what I mean by tax rebates. And Mr. Reed, I'm sorry. That's what I'm talking about by making it a flat tax. What I mean by that is there's no freeze zones. There's no missing payment zones. There's no I'm going to be here 6 years and leave before I have to pay taxes on the 7th year. None of that will exist.
The churches can no longer get away with it.
Yes, the churches will tax as well. Yes. 15% is a flat tax fee. And what I have found is an equal opportunity that everyone will get a benefit out of.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Necro-Nick?
Well, I mean, I know both of my opponents here have mentioned that it would be roughly 15 for them. Correct me if I'm wrong, opponents?
I chose 15%.
Correct.
I actually believe it would be 10% for under my presidential election seat, because it's still a nice chunk of change for everyone, and I think it would still help us get out of the green or out of the red.
That's fine.
One other thing that I would like to bring up as far as taxes, I would repeal the oil tax and the gasoline tax.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe that gas stations and oil, we export as much oil as we import.
Right.
Our oil has been already sold. That is why we end up exporting the oil that we actually own. It had already been pre-sold. This is something that's gone down in the history. This is not something that's why we end up buying our oil, because we've already sold our oil. And unfortunately, that's how that happens.
I believe that we shouldn't sell our oil. We shouldn't have to rely on oil from other countries.
I understand that. And if you look at the history, our oil is already sold. It's not so we would have to turn around and go back on all our deals, which may not be a bad thing, which not be a good thing, but I do see the dependency not stopping. We're going to move. I want to move to the next question so that we can keep keep this going. Okay. I'm going to bring up something, and I'm going to bring this up. I'm passionate about it. And I want to hear what each of you have to say. Education. I want to ask how you think or feel education in our country is going, and how to better improve it to improve our country. And since Necro, you want to start first, Mr.
Sure.
What do I want to call you? Mr. What?
Mr. LaRocco is my last name.
LaRocco.
Yes.
I don't want to be disrespectful.
Not a problem.
He don't deserve respect anyways.
You're gonna be the first one I fire on personally.
All right.
Bring it. You've taught me enough to survive it.
And I wanna talk about our education and our educational system, and how it is currently, and how you feel
Okay, well, first off, I gotta say, fuck Common Core math.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. You have my vote. Okay. But already. But but okay. And
That's one change that I plan on making.
okay.
Second off, um, one thing I want to do for the teachers, I
Okay.
feel that in some school districts and others, the pay rates ain't fair. So it kind of makes teachers not want to teach if they have the opportunity to teach in some school districts because of safety and not good pay rate to go along with that safety. If like safety is an issue or whatnot, and these teachers could be amazing for that if they were either the schools were more securitized or if they had a better wage. You
Okay.
look confused,
I'm trying to
Kyle.
figure out where my third hand went.
Oh,
It came from
okay.
over there, but I have one hand
Came
here.
from over there.
One hand here. I feel
One
like
hand.
I feel like I'm playing that Modern Warfare game where every now and then a hand comes down from the ceiling and drops your mag, but you never figure out who gives it to you. You ever see that?
And this would, yeah,
Sorry,
I
keep
did.
going.
And this would be something because federally, because each state dictates their own teachers. In fact, a lot of teachers, believe it or not, come to the state of Pennsylvania because they get paid higher than Ohio and then other states. And
Yeah.
so, is this something that you would try to implement federally?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, getting Votex everywhere in every
That,
school district
okay.
because that will increase economy wise and the ability for people that don't have the chance for scholarships or whatnot. The Votex, if you pass, I'm gonna say anywhere from like 10 to 15 and each class will actually get a scholarship to go to a higher Votex go to actually get them into a career that they want to be in.
Okay. Next candidate. I don't care who goes.
I believe our country currently has teachers that have to pay for pencils and paper, that has to pay for standard school supplies out of their own pockets. I believe that with how the budgets are for most of these schools, they can afford to at least supply the teachers with some of the bare essentials. We also we also deal with the higher the test scores for schools, the better the funding. It should be the complete opposite. The lower the test scores, the more funding a school should have. So they can raise their test scores. So they can raise everything for that school to try and make them try and go and
Sorry, I didn't mean that, Mr. Reed. I apologize.
No
I will blame.
distracting your
I will.
opponents.
I will
try.
blame. He's sabotaging the
Um,
debate with his
But they're
levity,
trying.
which is funny.
What I'm
have
pretty much saying is, you have schools that have high test scores and don't need the money, when schools that are failing in test scores and stuff and everything like that need the money to be able to make their schools a lot better. We rely too much on the sports aspect. when was the last time a school had a scholarship in, say, anything scientific?
Oh,
Anything when
they
it
do
came to
that.
business.
Okay.
The other thing, and I do not want to take time away from my opponent, Mr. Davison. I believe that they should drop some subjects and teach common sense items. Things like tax paying, balancing a checkbook, hell, how to change a tire. I believe that a lot of these schools should get rid of the things that aren't truly necessary and go and focus on things that kids, when they graduate, should be able to know how to do when they leave school.
So you're talking about making them learn everyday life.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Which how I was raised in school system. But is not how my children were raised, and it's definitely not how my grandchildren are being raised. So I appreciate that feedback. Okay, Mr. Is it Davidson?
Davison, but thank you. As part
Okay.
of my plan, I plan to change the way public schools are being done. I plan to have public schools being part of the government sector. That way, they will be paid set salaries of government pay, which will be equal and proper to their ratings. In short, no longer having to worry about, as you stated before, Mrs. Michelle, having to go from Ohio to Pennsylvania to get paid better. We lost a
Hmm.
lot of soldiers and a lot of soldiers' jobs when President Obama had taken place, and yet that money has gone unspent and unused, probably being paid off to people that we will not even begin talking about. However, if we take those and fund them into the educational system, creating schools that have their teachers have to go through government programs to be able to work their background checks, etc., like that, psychological screenings, etc., stuff that they would have to do in any other government sector job. We can weed out some of the issues, make the schools safer, and perhaps maybe even putting in some security guards from the military sector to give more protection to the students within. Also, it's going to hit a bunch of people hard, but I do not believe that Mrs. Bush was correct in her statement. I do not believe that no child should be left behind, and I do not believe that all children should pass. I'm a firm believer that your grades should say everything about you. So I will remove that as soon as I am in presidency. Students who fail will be held back. Students who fail 3 times will be removed from the school district, and they can find their own way in this world.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Now the next question, it's very important, it's serious, and I really need to know this. If you were a vegetable, which one would you be and why? Now remember, eggplant is already taken by the current administration. Okay, so who would ever like to go first?
I guess I'll go first. And
Yeah.
fortunately for me, I already know what kind of vegetable I want to be. I am already a vegetable.
Okay. Particular flavor?
Human.
Human. Okay,
Pretty
good.
sure I taste human.
Okay, good.
I'd like to be a cucumber. That way I can be used in many different ways.
Okay. Very nice.
Mr.
Very nice. Very
Macro.
nice.
I would like to abstain from that question, please.
That it could look poorly if you do, but that's okay. That is your opportunity to do that.
I took his. I know I took his.
Oh,
Find it short, sweet, to the point. I like that question.
okay. I'm gonna bring something up about excuse me. I was gonna burp, and this is live, so didn't want it to go bad. Um,
Better out than in, I
I
always
want to
say.
talk. There you go. One of the things that I would like to talk about is the relationship with um, our mental health and our vets. and I would like to see how would you implement so that none of our vets would have to wait 6 to 12 months
Or longer.
for or longer for proper medical care of any sort. How would we go about funding this? Because it's something we're all passionate about.
Okay, who wants to go first here?
I believe I will start.
Okay.
Now, I know there are going to be people that are going to hate me for what I'm going to say. I believe if I were to become president, I would cut our military budget in half. And there's a reason why. That money, that, that
You're
money
fucking up, bud.
that I would pay would be used for it would be used to help our veterans both physically and mentally. It would be used to train them to be able to get a job, get them housing, get them all the help they need. Like I said, there are people that are going to hate what I say.
Okay. And
You
I
softly
appreciate your
carry a big
comment.
stick.
So,
I believe you're next.
yeah, Mr. Reed, I do appreciate your statement. I do appreciate your wordiness and everything. I do appreciate that. President Biden, or sorry, President Obama already cut our military deficit in half. They cut our paychecks and everything in half. So what you're stating is that we would cut them even further into half, thus meaning that nobody would actually be getting paid to actually be in the service, which would be quite negative. However, I do see where you're going in this. My biggest issue comes to the fact that what you're saying, while very intuitive and very bright and everything, we stop shaking the camera, you, is the fact that the main issue why people don't hire veterans and the main reason why veterans have such trouble is the fact that we are viewed with a stigma, which has been going on for decades. Where if you're left out due to having some kind of mental issue, they look at you and say, well, obviously this individual is more than likely going to snap one day and perhaps start gunning people down. What we would need to do is we would have to introduce people to the idea that not all people who are mentally disturbed, disabled, injured, etc., are a threat, which unfortunately, with the current way things are going, has not exactly been working out in the vets' favor. With my strategy of increasing the tax bracket on the wealthy to 15%, and those who do not want to pay can simply leave, and they will basically be blank checked out of this country. What I mean by that is, for instance, let's just say that, Elon Musk decides that he does not wish to pay his side of the dividend, then we will simply remove him and all of his businesses from the United States, and he will be blacklisted from ever returning to the United States. He can attempt to peddle his wares elsewhere. With the 15%, we could put it towards doing things such as improving not just military pay, military efficiency, military technology, and of course, definitely military health. Many military soldiers spend decades, literally decades, waiting to hear a single phone call from a single individual saying that we are going to help you, only to never hear that. The suicide rate in our veterans is too high, it's too dangerous, so I state that we implement what I like to call green zones. What green zones are locations where the land is not up to purchasing. People don't wish to purchase it. The stuff that's been on sale for decades, swampland, stuff like that. Have the military go in, clear it out, and create military protected zones for our veterans and our active duty to live in. Zones that can constantly be watched and maintained with medical privileges on there, increasing the number of military grade hospitals there are, improving the amount of military security there is. Not as a way to segregate us, but as a way to protect us. If it's one thing an infantry soldier or an infantry vet does not like, it's confrontation, loud noises, dealing with roughly stupid people. And any one of those things can trigger untold damage, not just to us, but to other people. So I would suggest that we create zones that will increase the amount of medical attention there can be, increase the pay for these medical officials, and help greenlight and fast track our soldiers into being able to get paid the actual money and insurance and protection they require. Of course, having the deficit for the military would also make it a lot easier for us to pay for our soldiers too. Just to throw that out there. That's a lot of money. I'm not lying. That's a lot of money. You put that all in the medical, we're all going to be feeling great in 30 days. Just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to pick on you, but that would make my pockets happy. It would.
Okay, so for mine, I'm gonna fucking eliminate what fucking that fucktard Obama did and replenish back the military funding. Second off, for some god awful reason, there's a military branch that I'm not sure why it exists. I believe it's called the Space something or
Space
another.
Force. Space Force.
The Space Force. I just saw a sign for that the other day, and I couldn't help almost die crossing the road laughing at it. So, I say cut the funding for Space Force because god damn are there a whole bunch of morons that create that. And then use that funding to rebuild all the abandoned houses or what you call it, warehouses and like buildings like that could hold, either a family size amount of people or a whole structure of people to then house the homeless veterans, everything like that. Also, if it's like one of the warehouse, that could be like one of the places that could be used for medical and mental treatment and housing to get them their proper care and need after facing war times and stuff like that, to get them back to feeling a sense of normality. And that's about it.
Normal's a pretty funny statement from you, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to interject a little something here, only on my behalf of personal knowledge, that I know that our military might have a big budget, not as big as it was, but unfortunately, the money was not given to the people who actually are doing the jobs. I have family who was in the military and they qualified for food stamps because of the money that they were being paid from the government was not enough to cover their bills. They were below poverty. So, and that's as single. And if they had families, they were not getting paid. So the wrong people are being paid in the military. That's my point of view, and I just wanted to interject that in the statement. The next question I'm going to ask, and then I'll let Mama take it over if she'd like. I want to know what you feel, or how do you see the U.S. role in combating human trafficking that is currently going on in the U.S. It's modern day slavery, but it is run rampant, and I would like to know your points of view and how we're going to combat that.
Pure execution of all individuals found guilty of the crime, regardless of their mental age, physical age, sex, religion, or otherwise. All members will be executed on the spot. Bodies will be dealt with from there. Those who have been taken.
I'm gonna assume it's safe to say pedophiles are in that same boat.
Yes, they are definitely on the target list. Yes. The only way to make America safe is to remove threats. A human trafficker is just as great a threat. They will not be given a chance to speak. They will be given a chance to mention other people. If they do, we may sentence them to life in prison instead. If not, they will be executed on the spot. We will continue to execute them until they either realize it's too much of a threat to do or until they leave.
I pretty much have the same belief as my opponent here.
Same. But I'd put him in the Coliseum.
I do have a question for some of the people. Gun control.
Gun control means knowing how to put the gun into safety. If you're too stupid to be able to control that thought process, you should be executed.
Exactly.
You'll also,
So can I have a Sherman?
if you can find one that you can afford, go ahead.
Fuck yeah.
Just remember, if you do anything wrong with it, we have no problem mortar striking you out of existence.
Agreed.
Could possibly do wrong with a fucking
Do not end that
fully
question. Do not end that
operational
question.
And you know, the universe just stated, challenge accepted.
I need to discuss this at the end of my night.
Like,
have to
what
discuss
could
it.
possibly go wrong with a fully operational Sherman tank?
I was thinking the Sherman tank would be $350 million. I'm sure you would need a little bit of money for that one.
Oh yeah, money would be hard to come by with your 15% tax bullshit.
That is correct. Gun control at its finest. And stupid people control.
That's where the napalm comes in handy. Oh wait, never mind.
Can we arrest
Steve
the one
Folks.
opponent for terroristic threats over
Steve,
there?
folks, this is why. Yeah, Nick. This is why. Do we really want him in charge of the nuclear launch codes?
No.
I won't do that. That's too much destruction.
I think I just heard his wife say no. Damn.
That's why I will not use them. That's too much destruction that you cannot repair.
Michelle, I would just like to thank you for not asking any of the questions I was afraid you'd ask. There's been a lot of questions I've been sitting there just crossing my fingers hoping you would not ask, and you didn't ask any of them, so thank you so much.
There's one question I'm glad she didn't ask.
Okay, so I believe she said she was going to hand this over to Mama Bear.
Yes, if she would like. I feel like I've been monopolizing it.
It's fine, it's fine.
This is a general question for everybody that is a candidate. What are your stances when it comes to the refugees and national security?
I find that Earth Dragon stance works quite well. That is a question I didn't want you to ask. I did not want to.
That's not the question I didn't want someone to ask.
So I guess I'll start with this one. Refugees.
Send them back.
That would be the easy way. See, one of the parts of my candidacy is I plan to bring all the soldiers back to the United States of America. Every last one of them. We plan to basically protect our country for the next year or two until we can get our country salvaged. We will protect our country and our people. Unfortunately, the refugees from these other countries may find it a little more difficult to get in. Refugees will be required to fill in special paperwork, take tests to make sure they're capable of actually entering the soil, have all their equipment, gear, supplies taken, examined, studied, etc. before being brought back to them, and will be brought to special sectors. I would call them blue sectors. That will be specially designed for refugees and perhaps any of the illegal immigrants they find. Refugees will be allowed to stay there for roughly a period of time of 6 months before they will have to decide on either becoming American citizens, thus going through all the trials and tribulations of becoming an American citizen, or to be returned back to the border where they will stay or until they go home. I do feel sorry for these people. I sure do. Being a refugee is one of the worst things in the world. Being uplifted from your country because your country's in turmoil, and then fleeing to another country hoping it will take you in. And I do appreciate that. However, there's an old saying that states that you can't fix a broken engine with a broken tool. And right now, the United States is pretty broken. So unfortunately, unless they chose the 6 month period and then chose to either stay or leave, I can't really do much for them past that.
I believe that if they want to be here legally, fill out the paperwork, but have them in a special area of, I'd say, Texas. Set up a town, government controlled, that they have a job and they have a place to live, but they cannot leave that town until their date to see if they can become a natural citizen happens. If they are found that they cannot be, they get sent back. They're put at the border, no entry. If they are determined that they can be a U.S. citizen, keep them there for another 3 months, and then allow them to go to another part of the country. But if they are found to have done anything within a certain amount of time, maybe 90 to 120 days, I mean, yeah, have some sort of tracker on them or find out where they're going to be, deport them. Call it a probationary period.
No problem there, Judge Dredd.
Okay. So,
in the actual comic books, when you got to one of the larger cities, they injected you with something so you could track wherever you went.
Okay.
And if you attempted to leave the area, they sent the judges after you. That's where the joke comes in, Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I know that well.
Technically, wouldn't that be called Jug Dread?
Points.
But,
Points.
Don't we have a soundboard for that?
Yeah.
We did at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Gotcha. Okay. So for
Oh, really?
Stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick. My dick is stroking my shit.
You know what?
Yeah.
Emotional damage. Over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick. My dick is stroking my shit.
Then the political.
Yeah. There we go.
Hello, Nowhere Fast. How you doing, man? I like your dad joke.
Jug needing your soundboard, haha.
Mr.
Yes,
LaRocca?
correct.
Mr. LaRocca.
Okay. So, my idea is, okay, if you want to be a part of our country.
No, Necro, a refugee is a person who is fleeing their country due to strife or war or something, and they're seeking an asylum in another country.
Right.
That
They
doesn't
want to be
necessarily-
part of it.
No, they don't necessarily want to be part of your country. They're hiding out, hoping their country becomes better.
Well, I know that, but if you want to be part of this country, you will be put into a school that will teach you how to live here as an American. Teach you what might be on the test and everything like that to pass your citizenship. If you don't want to, you will be deported back to your country.
Boy, that's straight and to the point.
No asylum with Necro, gotcha.
Nope. You either want to be part of us or you don't. We are not here to help others when we can't even help ourselves.
No sanctuary. No sanctuary.
Either with us or against us.
Dear sweet monkeys. So that's I thought I thought I would be brutal, but Mr. LaRocco has proven what a brutal president can be.
I don't think I need to say much with this one. The war on drugs.
Okay, well, marijuana's not a drug, so that's legal everywhere. That's my opinion.
Obviously.
The war against other drugs, again, it kind of goes back to drug traffickers for me. You're caught with shit, you either get executed or put in prison, and not in a good prison. I'm talking like opening up,
Rape prison?
not rape prison, but one that's not so nice, one that's haunted, like Alcatraz for that shit. And yeah, that's gonna be my policy.
So
Marijuana is legal. You can buy it. You cannot buy it off of other people. But other drugs and anything like that, if you're caught selling, distributing, manufacturing, or buying, you will be arrested, and it'll be the choice of imprisonment on a haunted ass island that is constantly having what you call it, helicopters and guards with sniper rifles on the coastal land.
He's just described the prison from Face Off.
He described the prison from every movie that involves a prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so zero
So-
tolerance
Yeah,
policy.
well-
Yes, Miss Michelle?
Is that?
Did Miss Michelle just say
Oh,
something?
I was gonna ask him a question on that because literally trillions have been spent to fight this war on drugs, and it has only driven the illicit production of more and more substances and designer drugs into becoming a more toxic drug supply system. So
Well,
how would you stop this?
It goes back to my
Well-
original plan of increasing how tolerance is dealt with in the country. Execution is execution. Whether you tried it for the first time or caught with 10 pounds, are selling, delivering, making, etc. There is no jail time. There is no apology. A 9mm
Well,
round is a lot
in a-
cheaper to spend
Yeah.
than 20 years in prison.
I will say because the war on drugs has had an extremely harsh sentencing, and all it has done is bottlenecked our prison systems to the point where there's more I don't want to put a crime over another crime, but there are some that are in there for having a joint on them for 3 years, and somebody who killed somebody got out in 6 months.
I do agree with that. That's one of the reasons why I want to restructure the judicial system. However, as
Okay.
Mr. LaRocco has stated, marijuana is not a drug. In fact, I plan to use it to help stimulate jobs in the United States. I can talk about it at a later date. However, drugs that have the capability of killing, destroying, etc., should not be legalized. They should be not allowed in this country. Therefore, if you are caught trafficking, drug running, etc., execution is the only way out. I do not believe that you should be spared. I do not believe you should get a second chance. If you murder somebody, you do not get a second chance. I do not care your age or whatnot. Rape, murder, assault, crimes like that need to have a penalty that's more worth its time. If you're caught smoking a joint and can't drive properly, that sounds like jail time. If you're caught holding somebody at ransom with a firearm, that shows that you have the diligence to shoot and kill somebody, and you will be executed for that. No ands, no ifs, no buts, no tolerance. Our prisons will
I
be
agree
empty
with him on that.
after a little while.
I
Wait,
believe.
so if two guys get into a scrap, the penalty's going to be worse than what it is
Oh, that's jail time.
now.
That's jail time.
That's jail time. We're saying if you go up to me off the street, not knowing me, and hold a gun to my head, you're gonna die.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a fist fight. Fist fights
Assault is
happen.
not a lethal crime.
No. Lethal!
Yeah, but he said the punishments for everything is gonna go.
It will. It will
up.
increase. It will have to increase. Because right now it's not working. Our judicial system is not working. We have people that are going to
I
jail for
think if
2
two
years
people want a fist
for
fight, two
murder.
guys should be able to fist fight.
If they want a
Most
fist fight, they can
people-
go into the octagon.
Most people that go to jail for drugs still have their connections on the outside, and they can still get in contact with them.
That's why you execute them.
Right.
Then there's no
A
connection.
lot of
Connection cut.
exactly. You run the person's name and who they've been associated with, and you take out every single one that they've been associated with the drug trade.
Well, how do you know if they're associated with a drug trade or not?
Yeah.
How do you know? I
If
thought I
they're
was
not
being strict, but Mr. Reed, just going down and killing people on the phone is not going to work.
If they're not family,
If that were the case, there'd be 0 people left in the world after one drug bust.
This is why we have Necro Dicks firebomb the world.
Fucking contact one of the most popular guys in town. Okay, well, all the town's dead. Okay, everyone that was connected to these people now die. Like,
I'm
you're just gonna kill the whole country at this point.
I'm talking the drug mules.
Well, the problem with that is they've tried to do that, Chuck, and unfortunately, they've learned to use codes, terminologies, etc., that are very hard to find. But if you just straight up kill them, then that's one less. Turn it into a 3-ring circus. You want to sell drugs? Be my guest. You die.
Yeah.
You want to go murder somebody, and you say, I murdered them, that's fine. You say, I'm insane, so I can't be held responsible. Well, obviously, you're not sane enough to be held responsible for anything. You're executed. That is it.
Okay.
You want to be able to take someone's life, whether it's through drugs, firearms, etc. That's fine. If you're willing to take that chance and try to kill somebody, we're taking the chance to just kill you and take you out of the gene pool. I'm not saying that I'm going to throw somebody in jail for stealing a loaf of bread for their family because they're starving. That's not right to do. However, I am saying that if somebody goes on a murderous spree in school who's 16 years old, shoots 33 people up, gets juvenile, and then 5 years afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't care if the child's 16. The child shouldn't have done it in the first place. The child's executed. If the parents didn't like it, they should have taught their child how to control themselves. Murder, pedophilia, rape, gun trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking are extremely dangerous things that ruin this country, ruin people's lives, and even end lives. So I say, let the bodies hit the floor. Mr. Reed, your feelings on the subject?
I agree.
Okay.
Don't really have any more questions for you. I think I've
Oh,
got everything I need.
Dodged a bullet on one question.
I dodged a bullet on 7.
I got a question.
Oh no.
What's
Yes.
your opinion on dueling? Like the two
Is this
guys,
the 1700s?
high noon, pistols.
One of the things I heard from my competitor over here, Mr. Reed, was something about building coliseums to allow people to watch other people fight to the death.
Yeah.
I believe dueling sounds like a fight to the death.
Yep.
Equal weapons, equal distance, turn, fire. Sounds like it works for me. I mean, I wouldn't build giant coliseums because we already have them.
It is.
Cowabunga, it is. I'm not saying I build giant coliseums because we already have football fields. They work the same. But and to give a reason for people to go to Giant Stadium after all these freaking losses. Sorry, I apologize for my outburst there, but they've lost so many times. But honestly, yes.
I think President Kyle's going a little nuts over there.
Go
He's always a little nuts.
But yeah, actually, believe it or not, dueling has
voted
only been
for horse.
outlawed in 13 states. Technically, dueling is still legal. If you ask the mayor that you want to set up a dueling match, it's still legal in 37 states.
Really? Is PA a legal one?
I know Maine is one. I don't know if PA is one. But I know Maine, Massachusetts, I think PA, and everything below the Mason-Dixon line, basically, are still legalized for dueling. Along with Alaska and Hawaii.
Interesting.
Just to let you know. The more you know. I've actually looked that one up.
Knowing at the bell, G.I. Joe.
There are only 2 states in the United States where mutual combat's legal.
What 2 states are those?
Washington and Texas.
Wait, Washington? Walla Walla, Washington? The upper frickin'
Washington State and Texas, yes.
Honey, can we move to Washington?
For what?
Mutual combat. It's legal. That's where you can challenge someone to a fight, get in the ring, and just beat the shit out of them. Oh, come on. How many stupid people could I remove from the gene pool doing that?
I got a proposition.
Oh, good.
Nick, me, Kyle, and Jug. We're taking a trip to Washington.
Okay.
Well, this video just got flagged.
Yay, I get to visit Blue Bacon then.
I don't think I
Okay,
would want to
so-
visit Blue Bacon. Mrs. Michelle, do you have any other questions you would like to ask while we're at it?
Please
Well,
don't,
you know, why not?
please don't ask that question. Please don't ask the question. Please don't ask the question.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, God. Well, doesn't that red button over here?
No. Believe it or not, I've actually thought long and hard on this, and I've come to the decision that I would like a power. I can't remember what it exactly would come up to in the United States text. Something along the lines of merchant's priority or something like that. I can't remember what the translation really comes out to. But basically, it would create a demi-plane where you could go to, and you could spend money and make money by buying goods and selling them there. And you could buy goods from other parts of the world and transform and things like that. So basically, I could have the ability to buy and sell goods with other worlds and improve basically anything that I would need to be improved. Or tune physics, whichever one works first.
I would want to be able to shapeshift.
Don't most politicians?
Oh! Take him down! Take him down! One less competitor. There was an assassination attempt on Mr. LaRocco. Call security.
I believe there was.
Friday Night Fights is now Friday Night Gunfights. Only if you're caught. If I had a superpower, I would definitely think tune physics would be the top of the list, though.
Alright. I don't think we got an answer from Mr. LaRocca, but
So mine would be mind control and telepathicness.
Would that just be...
She said one.
Well, that would just be psionic abilities right there.
Okay, psionic abilities. That way I could, use my silver tongue to convince any opposing threats or opposing people to side with me.
Mr. LaRocco, that sounds like voter fraud.
Sounds like gerrymandering.
Stop thinking that. That's not fair. Stop it.
Necro.
Stop thinking
Necro. Yeah.
now
This is how I was going to win the election.
Yes. This one would be the deal breaker. You will lose half of your votes, I'm sure. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I choose Star Trek just because it seems like the safer of the two. Think about it. I mean, if you see any of the planets that are usually on Star Trek, They're usually well developed, well thought, well protected planets. Uh, the space travel works effectively. You have shields to protect your ship from just about anything. Food replicators, true and realistic. Whatever they're called, the rooms you could go, the hollow chambers, which
Yeah.
could lead to why you would probably want hollow chambers in your own room,
Holodeck.
private ones. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, if you think about it, yes, in Star Wars you have lightsabers and droids and that kind of stuff, which I firmly believe are cool. But everywhere you go in Star Wars, someone, something, some object is trying to murder you, destroy you, control you. Like, can you point at a single
Yes.
point in Star Trek where there was a peaceful planet that nobody wanted to with? All of them. How about Star Wars? Oh no, not Star Wars. You name a planet, there's somebody trying to kill people on that planet 2-3 times over. Just saying, just throwing it out there. And since Necro hasn't watched Star Wars at all, he can't really vouch for that, so he's got to go with Star Trek. And
Yes.
I think Juggernaut did it just to spite me.
Um,
Are you a baby Grogu fan? Is that what I'm seeing here, Mr. Reed?
Hey, I like Mandalorian.
That's fine. You could like that. It's hard to believe that The Mandalorian takes place after the Star Trek or the Star Wars Episode 9 or something. It's weird to think that that's actually like the newest continuity era right there. And somehow Ahsoka's
Yeah,
alive.
there's-
How the did that handle? Pretty sure Vader stomped her into the dirt. But more questions, Mrs. Michelle?
well, there is some things that I'm is kind of hit upon. So, um, how do you? Well, I'll ask. Foreign aid and disaster relief for foreign countries, not for like foreign aid. What's your views on that?
Mr. Larago, Mr. Reed, would you like to go first, or shall I?
What was the question again?
He was playing on his phone, talking to his girlfriend.
It was about foreign aid and what your stance is on foreign aid or foreign relief, like for like disasters and things like that. Not barring war. I'm talking about natural disasters.
I mean, I could give my opinion on this.
Okay.
I mean, within reason, yes, help during natural disasters, as long as said countries also do the same for us. It's got to be a mutual respect kind of thing, in my terminology. So if they never gave us any kind of aid for ours, why should we do the same in theirs?
I've always been under the impression help ourselves before we help others. We focus on our country with any disasters before we even think about helping another country.
Foreign aid for those who are willing to call us allies. All others, they can go screw themselves. As quickly and as politely as I can say. You don't want to aid us when we require your help. We're not going to help you when you require yours. Equal opportunity.
Okay.
If you're some country that's saying, "Oh, the United States sucks, it sucks, it sucks," then some big country goes to war with you, Ukraine, and they say, "Oh, help us, help us, help us." There's no way I'm going to help them. And if you're not going to aid us in some way, shape, or form, if you're not going to sell products that we require or that we need, or buy products from us, or you're just going to sit there and insult us, make fun of us, and then when you're in trouble, you call for the big brother. I'm sorry, but this big brother's fixing itself. Miss Michelle, are you okay?
I am good. I was absorbing. I was absorbing.
I like that. It's like, I'm
Are you
good.
a sponge? Are you a sponge?
No,
I
but she's enjoying hearing it.
I yeah, there you go. Um I I want to go I guess I want to go back to more on the like our vets. Okay? Um how do you feel about um the legislation actually um well here 18-year-old can go to war but he can't get a beer. An 18-year-old can go to war but he can't legally buy a pack of cigarettes if he wants. Like if he I want your stance on that.
You just had to pick something I didn't want you to ask, didn't you, Michelle?
I know. I know.
Well, this is
And
where I lose all
and
my
not
votes.
necessarily whether you yeah, not necessarily where you think, you know, drinking is I know drinking is bad or good or smoking is bad or good or buying a gun is bad or good, you know.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one first, so I can lose all my votes at once.
There you go.
Do you remember earlier when I stated that drugs, medicines, etc., that can possibly kill somebody were not worth it in this country?
Yes.
Amongst those particular types of drugs include tobacco, aka cigarettes.
How can you put tobacco in that and not put marijuana?
Well, because as of the
Marijuana
moment,
doesn't
marijuana
kill.
hasn't proven to kill anyone,
Okay. Well,
and alcohol.
tobacco, you mean tobacco straight from the ground or that has been laced with all the carcinogens that they've
I'm talking
placed in
about
them?
cigarettes, cigars, etc.
Okay. Because
Anything that you
tobacco
could,
per se,
it could be tobacco per se.
go on. I just meant because true tobacco in its form,
Well,
not
here's the issue with
laced.
tobacco itself. Tobacco offers no positivity that marijuana cannot take over and improve. The crop for marijuana itself, hemp, is capable of performing so many different jobs that tobacco just can't. If we begin tearing down tobacco farms, cotton farms, etc., replacing them with marijuana farms, we get affordable clothing, we get stronger rope, we get a food source. Yes, by the way, there are parts of the marijuana plant that you can eat that are not laced with THC. You get herbal supplements, you get medical supplies, you get all kinds of things in one plant. Whereas tobacco, other than the seeds itself, most of the other product is usually just burned, shredded, or turned into fertilizer, which means the crop itself is roughly 30% useful. Hops is the same way. But bamboo, that has many uses. Marijuana, tons of uses. So, tear them down and replace them with a product that will open up more jobs, that's healthier, that's safer, and that has actually been proven. And yes, I know people are going to be like, oh, no, it's not, but here it is. It has actually been proven to be beneficial to man, whereas tobacco, alcohol, etc., no. It has not proven to be anything but a burden on man. More people die each year from injuries, I'm calling them injuries, by the way, by tobacco and alcohol than I think any other thing and condition in the United States combined. I mean, I know that heart attacks are very large, but if you combine the number of deaths dealt by tobacco, and this is not an aim at Mr. Reed, by the way, this is not an aim at you. No, we will give you all the pot you need, man. Don't worry. All right? Just say. Have you ever seen a podhead try to rob a liquor store? Have you ever seen a podhead run into a 7-Eleven with a shotgun threatening to kill everybody?
No, running in there to get munchies, yes.
And it improves the economy, just right there. Just like I said with my drug capabilities, no. Tobacco industries will have roughly 2 months to get their butts out of the United States. We will not allow the shipment in or out. And if you begin having mental breakdown because of it and do something stupid, well, then you can be at the end of a 9mm. As a president, one of the things that my commission will do, unfortunately, is lower the population of people in the United States. That is a proven choice, and I have accepted it. I accepted that, unfortunately, as my presidential rule will be, including my primary goal of putting us to military control for the first 90 days. I do know the fact that we will be lowering the amount of individuals, mainly the stupid and the ignorant. However, by doing this, I'm sorry to go on a tangent. I'll stop there. I'm not going on a tangent. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. Next. I'm sorry. Who's next?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Necro.
Okay, so I kind of agree with Kyle for the most part on the tobacco part, actually. I say take all of them down because hemp is a more sustainable, so is bamboo. Gives more jobs, gives more revenue, everything like that. Makes it a happier place. The beer, on the other hand, like beer and alcohol, I would actually like to work it like you have to buy a handgun. You have to be registered to like sign a document saying what you bought, everything like that, and that's immediate. Can you mute me?
I thought you already did.
No, now I am. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I'm hearing you myself through.
I thought.
I vote that frauditors be the first on the list to go. I have no problem with that.
I'm confuzzled.
You want me to just mute him?
Nah, I got it. I think I'm good. Yeah, we're good. So
You're still popping up on both.
Still going through Deathgasm.
Am I?
Yeah. Yep.
That's weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now you're better.
Okay, now I'm better.
Yes.
So, the way I see like alcohol working is you gotta sign something saying what you bought, everything like that. Cannot be cracked open until you are home and you are staying in for the night. There will be
You're
people out.
technically eliminating bars there, my fellow candidate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you remember what I said, I already did.
Kyle already did completely.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are getting my vote. Fucking old bars.
I'm fully legalizing
That's
marijuana,
right.
though, as in making it nice and cheap.
Well, I'm gonna let Mr. Reed finish this what he was gonna say, and then I'll go back to what I'm going to tell you again.
No, I just
Okay.
wanted to bring that up to Mr. LaRocco.
Yes,
Okay.
I would be eliminating.
It was yes, and my question was more of the fairness of how the vets are treated, how the military is treated compared to being allowed to purchase and buy things rather than the drugs and the alcohol. Not necessarily if the drugs or alcohol was good or bad, but,
Okay,
and I had said that, but more of the political fairness as far as our military goes. Like I said, they can take an 8-year-old, put him in the middle of a jungle in combat, but yet he can't come home, buy a gun, which, by the way, he's had more expensive guns in his hands, and he can't come home to buy a handgun.
well,
That
personally,
was kind of my.
I believe that if you're a member of the military, you should be legally obligated to be able to own your own firearms and such. I believe that should be a sign-off you could do as long as you are either in service or honorably and or medically discharged. If you're dishonorably discharged, no. But I believe that if you're a
Okay.
veteran and you're age 18, you should have all the legalization you require. You've proven yourself to be able to be a part of the military through testing, rigorous training, etc. So I feel that you would be legally in your own right to do it as long as you show off your military ID.
I agree with that statement.
So do I.
So do I.
I don't know.
I mean, if you've proven that you
Alright.
have the ability to fire a firearm respectively and protect this country, why shouldn't you have that benefit?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, if you had to choose one of your co-candidates to plant a big old wet one on their lips, which one would it be? Kaiju?
Well, thank you, Miss Michelle. I didn't know you were choosing me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you get to choose one of the two.
Well, I mean, I've already kissed Necro, so I guess I could go with Jared.
Okay, all right.
Oh my.
Oh, come on. Necro's a sexy bitch, and you know it.
I mean, I already kissed Kyle. I might as well do it again.
There you go. And
Mr.
Mr.
Reed?
Reed, your view of this?
Really go.
Come on, Mr. Reed.
Oh, come on. It's just a peck. She didn't say we were tongue kissing down this Nixon line. Come on,
No,
man.
and-
No, she said a big old wet one.
On the lips, I mean, some people are just wet kissers, not necessarily with a tongue. Oh,
See?
come on.
See? Just a kiss, man.
Kyle.
Okay. I've kind of run out of serious ones, and
again,
they just
like I
get
said,
worse from now. So
I'm
if
glad-
you
Do you have any
I
other
am
questions
glad
you want to ask
you
Mulder?
did not mention the one.
no, I do not want to hear that one.
I'm still safe.
I'm
6
sure.
questions that I didn't have to answer.
Yay.
One
Do you have
big
anything you want to ask
question.
Mulder?
No, I have nothing further.
All right, Michelle. I guess they get worse from here.
I guess that's it. It gets worse.
Yeah.
You want to hear some other ones?
Ooh, Nowhere Fast has stated, if you could choose one of the candidates to be your vice president, who would it be?
Off of what they said today.
Put a message in the chat.
Yeah, it says right here in chat.
Put a message in the question in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. He asked it.
If I had to choose one of the 2 candidates to go with, I would have to choose Mr.
President?
Reed, because I do not agree with Mr. LaRocco's choice of firebombing the country out of existence, or the world for that matter.
It's not out of existence. It's just eliminating all the stupids that can't survive out of it.
So off the map with our current
No. I mean, it might be like a 25% chance of survivability for the whole world.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Reed. Mr. LaRocco, who would you choose to side with?
I mean,
And that's right, Michelle. Nowhere Fast is answering us without telling you. He's been sneaky about it.
I would have to go with, I think, Kyle. Well, we have a lot of the same beliefs of executions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Kyle.
Well, my choice is I need someone to be the other half of the coin. Someone that would have to be my check and balance, and I would be their check and balance. We have a lot of the very similar ideas, and that would be Mr. Davison. I would have to choose Kyle because, like I said, he would be the other side of the coin. He would be my check and balance, and I would be his check and balance.
Definitely need to be a check and balance up top as well. Anything else that you want to ask about how you feel about the country? Anything, Miss Michelle? Or
No, they're just things like, as a child, were you a thumb sucker, a binky, or had a blankie?
I had a blankie because my parents
I
believed
was a thumb sucker.
My parents believed that I was going to ruin my teeth if I kept sucking on pacifiers and the like. So the second I stopped sucking on a pacifier, I had a blankie.
There we go.
I had my thumb and a blankie.
I had my blanket because I thought I was Superman.
There you go. And I guess the only other one would be, what's your favorite line from your favorite movie?
Do you guys give up, or are you thirsty for more?
Victims, aren't we all?
There we go.
What's this? What's this?
Why is it not on fire? Oh, wait.
It's not a dress, it's a kilt, sicko.
There you go.
Suddenly, I heard a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. You heard me rapping, right?
I'll be back.
Mm-hmm. My favorite one includes bubblegum. We'll just put it that way.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
That's right.
Good old Roddy Piper, they live.
I still can't believe that he did so well in that movie. I'm sorry, like every other wrestler I've seen in the movie always has this like dopey face, and Roddy's like just completely serious the entire movie. Love that about that. He also had a cameo in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but it was only a cameo. He got run over by a tomato. Just throwing it out there.
Well, no, I guess the only other question would be, do you have any questions for your opponents?
Oh boy, are you gonna ask that one?
Yes.
Please ask that one.
Yes, you can ask that one.
All right. This one will go up for my esteemed colleague, Mr. Reed. Or
No.
Or wherever he happens
Yeah,
to be.
that's wherever he's at.
Okay.
On camera, he's here, so I'm just going to say he's here. Mr. Reed, through many of your questions, you seem to be a very, very stoic individual. You seem to put a lot of thought behind your questions, everything like that.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. What is your feeling on nuclear weapons?
Damn you. That's not the question either. That's not the topic either.
I know, but you weren't expecting it, were you?
No, I wasn't. Nuclear weapons should only really be used as a last resort.
Okay. Mr. Laraco.
Yeah, same question?
Same question.
Okay. So mine should be as similar to Jug's with the one added thing. So it should be used as a last resort, or if a threat has become a worldwide threat.
Okay. Anybody got any questions, or can I continue?
Well, how about you, Kyle?
I believe that we should dismantle and get rid of all of our nuclear weapons. We have weapons that are far superior to them right now that do not require nuclear energy. You do not need to wipe out an entire ecosystem for 50 plus years because you feel like it, when you could just drop a large napalm bomb over the same area and wipe it clean for a few weeks before it starts to regrow.
Which is what I'm planning on doing to the whole world.
And with that, if anything, I believe that we should be working on cyber warfare and weapons that can lead to that from the world. EMP bombs, for instance, could easily take a large country like, say, this is just an example, I'm not saying like North Korea, and literally send it back to the Stone Age with no problem. I mean, they're already there, but I just figured we could send them back a little, like, to Tuesday or something, just...
Okay. Who would like to go next?
I'll let Mr. Laraco go if he would like to.
So, a question for any one of you two. Well, he's got his hand raised. I guess he has another question, right, Kyle?
My friend, I've spent the last 3 days looking up questions for this. I have a freaking library's worth of questions. Do not put this on me. I'll keep us here.
Let's go, Kyle. Let's see.
All right, Mr. Laraco, how will you improve the food insourcing and outsourcing in the United States of America?
Well, thankfully, I've watched Enterprise, and I plan on researching their tech.
You You do realize that that's like 150 years into the future, right? Like,
Listen, if we get a head start on it, we might be able to do it earlier. But
Mr.
other than that, of course,
Actually, yeah. I was just gonna
I
say Doom takes place in like 2 years. Just telling you.
Yeah, I know. We should already be on Mars. In fact, that station on Mars has been there for 33 years by the time Doom starts. Remember that.
Right, right.
So we should already have that station. It should already be 33 years down. We should already
Well,
be calling him in.
yeah, they find the tech in 2026.
so we got 3 more years.
Yeah. Well, technically 2, but yeah.
If I find that tech, I will destroy it. Anyway, so how will you fix the food economy in the United States here, Necro?
Well, hemp is one solution, obviously.
Mhm.
We have proven that. What can I say? Well, I mean, hunting's already a sport that helps out for general family, but I think if we could somehow get hunting meat FDA regulated to be able to be sold, maybe that would be another possibility. Because right now you can't sell like deer meat or anything like that legally because of, well, I don't know exactly why. Can anyone help me out with that, Reese?
The issues is that deer and many other forms of wild game could have a myriad of diseases within them that may be able to survive the cold or the heat. If they're not cooked properly, you could trade some very devastating and horrible diseases to people. That's
Well,
why when you see
I mean,
somebody
in
cooking
our
a
state and with proper permits, and adhering to the regulations and the safety standards, like inspections and stuff, it can be done in our state.
yeah. The main thing though is like, for instance, like if you go to say like Cabela's, who have the bison burgers, which are actually made of bison, you'll notice that they don't give you the option to choose their desired cookness. They cook them thoroughly. They cook them until they're done or well done. The reason for that
yeah.
is to make sure that they are guaranteed
Safe.
safe, because unfortunately bisons can have a lot more. Any animal that lives out in the wild who is not regulated on what it can and cannot eat, you cannot tell what is actually eaten. And unfortunately, with the amount of garbage and stuff that's out in the woods nowadays, that bison goes and grabs itself a bottle of antifreeze before you shoot it, and now it's got antifreeze in its system. They're right there, honey.
Well, the way I guess I could see is actually getting the testings done to see what proper the meat has to be cooked at, and actually then putting on labels on the packagings to be able to be sold in stores, which would kind of help solve some of the issues with hunger. Fuck using pesticides every fucking where, is that just kind of ruins crops as well. Yeah, that's about it.
Mr. Reed, same question.
I believe since the food trade in the United States technically needs to be overhauled. We are going and we're raising the prices of a lot of the food, and people are making the same amount while the prices are going up. I believe that a lot of our crops that we could use, a lot of the wild game that we could hunt should be, all right, let's just say no GMOs and no pesticides for the crops that we are really using. For the animals, a lot of the meat that we're getting for like chickens, turkeys, cow, they've got so many chemicals inside of it with what they're eating, with what they're being fed. The FDA should go and step in and be able to limit how much stuff is being put in our food, if anything?
Okay, I do enjoy that. What?
What,
Oh, next question.
how about yourself? No, how about yourself?
I always get to a different question.
No, how about you answer the same question?
I don't want to answer the same question.
How about you answer the same question,
Answer the
competitor?
question, please, sir. I'm just kidding.
Answer,
You do what you want.
Fine.
answer,
Oh, shit. Okay,
answer.
fine, I'll answer. I will answer with a very simple statement, and I believe that you will understand my feelings on it. I will say 3 words, and from there, I'm sure you'll understand what my statement is. Dolly the sheep.
Okay.
My idea is that Dolly, a cloned sheep, I know it's above God and everything like that, to create another animal without the help of God himself, I guess, was able to fully mature 4 years ahead of schedule. Now, yes, unfortunately, she only lived to be about 4 years old before she passed. But the idea that you can create an animal whose meat is healthy, and hers was, who can create the same amount of wool and everything, which she was able to, in the course of probably about a fourth the lifetime, and it not even cost all that much once you get into regulations, we could easily make a very easy, very breedable, very controllable solution to world hunger. Imagine, if you will, those deer and elk and buffalo and bison and everything that you guys were talking about, which were wild game, suddenly being able to become naturally processed, non-wild game. Yes, their lifespans are shortened, but let me ask you something. What kind of life do most of these animals live, unfortunately?
They get fed and then get butchered.
Most cows live in small pens that they can't get out of. Well, at least in the United States, not over in Russia where they're allowed to go free. Most pigs are left in small pigsties for their entire lives where they never actually see life. Is that a way to live? No. However, if we
Then you got free range chicken.
Free range chicken, which is not free range at all.
Nope.
What
They
I'm
only
saying,
have to have the door open.
yep.
Yep.
What I'm stating is that we could begin creating a food source that would be less impactful, I guess I could say, to the consciousness. I mean, a cow can live up to 12 years, but what kind of life is 12 years if you're just standing there eating hay out of a hay bin all the time, popping out a new baby every few months? That's not fair to the cow. But if you create a cow from a zygote that took, let's see, they said that Dolly the sheep, with the amount of they had, they could have probably processed about 30 of her from the same genetic source, which would have already been 30 different offspring, which most sheep don't ever see in their entire lifetimes.
Right.
We could create that and begin creating a new life. Just literally sheep and cows specifically designed for one purpose and one purpose only. To be used for food, to be used for nutrition, to be used for products. These animals could be easily regulated. They would only live a few short years, so you'd have to make sure that you got through the surface. Now, I'm not saying I want to get rid of like show cows, show horses, show bulls, etc. I don't want to get rid of those. What I'm saying is that through the art of cloning, once again, I know everybody who's a full believer doesn't like that. My particular goddess doesn't care, so I'm okay with that. But and it could create an industry where we could use science to literally create food to the point where we could make it healthier. Obviously, the animal only has 2 years before they reach full size, which means that's 2 years less for diseases, 2 years less for bad food to be fed to them, etc. You wouldn't even have to really worry about breeding, because you could just use, like I said, the zygote mixture that they used with the sheep to create a new one. So you could create the same animal over and over again. I mean, we would eventually have to get new clones in there, because I believe they said something like every 300 to 400 would start to have issues. But I mean, that seems to work as a great food source, a great animal source, etc. They wouldn't live the extreme lives that these animals live nowadays. I mean, a pig can live till they're 20. Do you know that?
Yep.
How would you like to be a pig who spends his entire life stuck in a 6x2 cage where he can't get out? That sounds like cruelty to me.
I'd rather be the pig that can hunt for truffles.
I'd rather be the pig running around the fields, eating everything because I know that I have a purpose and it will be fulfilled at this date. I mean, from what I now know, I could be horribly wrong. So, farmers out there, please leave your comments. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. But I believe animals have to reach a certain maturity and a certain, I want to say, weight or size before they're even thought of being used for things such as animal products, milk machines, etc. Not the kind at McDonald's that are never working. And what I get by that is like an actual cow can take years to get to full size. Same thing with Dolly the sheep. Dolly the sheep should have gotten full size, full maturity around, I think it was around year 3 or 4, maybe 5. In 2 years, boom, full maturity, half the time. That means as a farmer, you have to spend half the time taking care of them, half the time, having to nurture them, having to watch over them, taking them to the vets, etc. Get your payout faster. If you can cut that down by half, that means you could produce a massive amount of food and supplies, which can then flood the market and thus start beginning lowering those prices. Because I'll tell you one thing, I'm sick and tired of calling up Popeye's Chicken and them telling us they don't got no chicken because they haven't got their freaking shipment today. Ugh.
Tired of going into a grocery store and seeing $11.90 a pound for beef.
Mm-hmm. That's because cows take so long to mature to the point where they can be executed. But if you use the cloning technology, take them half, even less of that time. Now you don't have a reason. Now you can't really explain it. You can't really say, well, they got to stay $11. Why? You're producing twice as much. Have that price. That's all I'm saying. Also, we got to start bringing in some of those plants from other countries that, for whatever reason, we're just not bringing into our country that produce amazing amounts of everything. Where are our rice paddies? Where are our sugarcane plants? Where are our marijuana groves? Where's our bamboo forests? Bamboo grows so fast and can be just as strong. Okay. Sorry. Next question. It'll be the next question, guys. Next question. So.
You went on a rant again.
I have to stop it. I've thought of this before. Necro knows I've thought about this before. Chug knows I've thought about this before. So I would like to bring up something that I found very interesting because both of you and myself have stated that you want to improve the job market in the United States of America. In fact, Juggernaut had an amazing idea, which I'm going to steal a little bit of. But how do you really think you'd be able to pull off enhancing the job market? What would be your main goal? As president, what is your main idea to bring in more people to the jobs? Because, well, according to the United States government, we don't have a lack of jobs right now, but if you walk up and down the streets, you can see we have a lack of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, Hazelton, Pennsylvania's got tons of jobs. Everyone's working.
Bullshit.
So in my area,
yeah,
we have a plethora of jobs and the lack of workers.
In our area, we have a lack of workers and a plethora of jobs.
We are totally opposite. Like, we have jobs. No one, I don't know where everybody went.
Well, we have the people, they just don't want to work.
Okay.
It's like, how would you work that out? How would you improve people wanting to grasp towards the job markets? Because I know how Jug would do it, and I like his idea. But I want to hear.
Well, I would definitely go with the whole life thing, like where you
life
make
wages.
what you need.
Yeah, life wages. Okay.
Life. Because that will obviously bring in more people. And mind you, life wages would be what you need to live, plus 100 or 2 extra to be able to play with.
I believe the percentage is living wage plus 15%.
Okay. So, similar to that way you have something to do with your life. money to be able to enjoy life. And I think that would bring in a lot more people to these jobs that say, yeah, we have jobs, but people ain't working. Decreasing the amount you get from if you are able to work and just choosing not to, that you get off of welfare, food stamps, everything like that. Decreasing that would be another way, because then you're taking away from the lazy people that don't want to work even though they can.
So, next question I have for you guys, very simple one, very very understandable. This has to do with our national debt, which at the moment is somewhere between infinity and beyond, I believe. I believe it's somewhere in between there. Now, mind you, the United States does not actually have the highest national debt. I found that out. We do not have the highest national debt. We have the third highest. So we're not the worst, but we're getting there. Originally, we were the 10th highest, and we've just slowly been growing. So,
Yeah, because our government likes to give it to everyone else.
So, a question for you guys would be, how would you try to put a deficit towards national debt? What would you try to do to try to combat it?
Okay, well, increasing the taxes.
Lemonade stand.
Buy a marijuana
That's gotta be
shop. Buy a marijuana
yeah,
shop.
you get more out of that. But obviously, the legalization of marijuana and being sold government regulated will be a benefit. Whatchamacallit, also increasing the taxes from whatever it is. Like, as I said, 10% for me is not quite a huge chunk out of a normal person, but it's still a nice chunk, and it's a nice chunk out of all the other people that are rich too.
It's an equivalent number.
Yes. So that'll decrease the amount of deficit we have. Stop helping people that we don't need to fucking help would be another way.
Joe said that. Joe said it earlier.
I mean, as I said, if they're not willing to help us out, they ain't getting no help. I mean, on the same kind of level. I run my government like I run the government it should have been ran, and it was stated, I believe, in the Constitution. An eye for an eye.
That's law of Hammurabi.
That's the code of Hammurabi, my friend. That's
whatever. But you treat me right, I treat you right. You don't, you ain't getting shit from me.
One hand washes the other.
Yep. Humber just said it. One hand washes the other. Stay away from that. Don't touch that. I don't know what that is, but don't touch that. It looks scary. How about you, Mr. Reed, if that's your real name?
A good portion of our national debt is because we owe countries money, but yet they owe us money. And neither country wants to pay the other. It's where a good portion of our national debt comes from. Another portion of our national debt comes from overspending and spending on stuff we don't need. Yes, all right, curbing the national debt, jobs, taxes, fine. But I do believe, and it does go below the U.S., does go below the president as well. How much money are these senators making? How about cutting the senators and representatives' salaries?
They would never do it unless they were restructured, like my plan is.
Right, term limits, like Michelle said, term limits on senators and representatives. If a president has a term limit, so should senators and representatives.
Congressman, what?
We have so much waste in our federal government. streamline everything. Find out what can be cut and get rid of it if you're able to. Big word, if. But for us to owe countries money.
Oh, Kyle. No.
For us to owe countries money and for them to owe us money.
Kyle.
Dad.
Kyle.
It's a pair of nail clippers.
Yo, listen, I seen what Reddit could do with a teacup. You can't even fight my logic.
I can't. You win. All right.
But that's how I believe we can do. We can put a dent in the national debt.
Very good. Very good. Next question, real quick. So for my ultimate plan here, the idea of soccer in the United States of America. Do you think it's time that we allow soccer to become a full-time sport? I have other reasons for this, rather than a college sport. For instance, if you look at Germany, the team that comes to the FIFA World Tournament is actually the best players from all the German teams combined into one team. Germany actually has dozens of they're football teams, but we'll call them soccer because we're American. Do you think it's about time for America to start soccer as an official sport?
Yes.
Yes.
We're starting.
Yeah.
It's called Major League Soccer.
I'd rather it be Metal Gear Solid, but we can work with that too.
No, it's something that already exists. Major League Soccer.
I would love to actually see it. Another question. This is actually a rather strange one because I know how some people view it. What are your thoughts on America removing all gas and diesel powered vehicles and replacing them with electric? Knowing, of course, that you would never ever again be able to hear that wonderful engine sound revving up or being able to go down the road at 200 miles per hour if you felt like it. And before you say it, John, that damn tank of yours pushed 175. I don't want to hear it.
I wanna interject a little something here.
Okay.
Geographically, a
Yes.
lot of electric vehicles will not make it where I live
Why not?
because of the terrain.
What about the terrain?
He lives in the middle of nowhere.
Without giving away my geographical location, we'll just say a lot of dirt roads and hills and bumps and valleys.
I'm confused. Why would an electric vehicle not be able to drive out there?
Because they can't.
Why not?
They don't.
Why-
They don't. They don't make it up the grades of the hills we have
Wintertime.
in winter.
Well, not many cars make it up hills in the winter. My God, me
Well,
and Juggernaut slid
the
down
ones
a
I
hill in the
drive
winter.
to, I guess.
I'm just tossing it out there, but I mean,
I know, and I was just tossing it out back at you. That's all I'm doing.
personally, I believe that the idea is probably one of the most dangerous, crazy, and single-handedly psychotic ideas the United States has ever thought of. I am behind it 100%, of course. Because the first few vehicles that came out, that Tesla came out with, that they're sending over here are about 6 years older than the ones they're currently driving over there in Germany. You know, the ones that appear and act like Jeeps and trailer trucks and everything like that. You know, the ones that can go up high grades and things like that. Like, we haven't gotten those yet, but they're coming.
Cody in.
But Necro, how do you feel about it?
The only issue I have is this was something I heard, and to like charge them, I don't know if our power grids would be able to handle them at this point in time. maybe with upgraded power grids, yes, that could be a viable option. But at this current moment, I believe it would actually end up shutting us down more than helping.
Juggernaut?
I'm just going to use one phrase. The idea is sound. The execution needs work.
I'm personally behind this idea 100%. Simply put, the amount of time and energy it takes to charge an electric car is actually remarkably low. It's the equivalent of having an air conditioner on, which I know is not actually that low, but if you live in a town that can support it, that works perfectly. But a thing a lot of people don't realize is like a lot of these electric cars, like most of them have what are called solar panels on the roofs, designed to gain energy from this big bright object in the sky called the sun. Just saying, a lot of these vehicles out here have these giant solar cells on the roof. It takes a bit longer to charge them, but they can go 800 miles on a single charge. That's a lot of people are like, that's not a lot. That's quite a distance. That's nearly to and from freaking Philadelphia. That's you could easily make it here, charge your car, and go back home from here, and we're 6 hours away.
Yeah.
The thing is that it will be a detriment to the car manufacturing companies who desperately want to cling to gas and diesel, but it's also going to kill out a lot of people like George Bush, who I'm okay with.
That's why I said the theory is sound. The execution needs work.
All right, so one last question. How do they dispose of batteries that won't hold a charge anymore? It all depends. The battery's actually quite large on the vehicles. Like a lot of people go, "Oh, the battery's this little." It's not. The batteries are huge on these vehicles.
It takes the entire back trunk.
I think so, yeah. But I believe how Tesla does it is a battery can hold I think it's 100,000 full charges. Afterwards, you can return it to a Tesla dealership, and they will take the battery out, decommission it, recycle it, and they will give you a brand new one. And I believe your insurance company can actually be charged for it. So I think that's pretty much covered as long as you have an insurance company. The downfalls of these cars, however, are things such as not being able to reach an extremely high top speed, not being able to hold as much weight as a diesel or gas vehicle right now.
You have to drive it within 3 days or else the battery dies.
Really, Jug? Really gonna play that game? That was the original Tesla model, you mook. It's what they have the solar charger on the roof for. I do know that they are constitutionally a little bit more difficult than standard cars are at the moment, by the way, once again, like Jug said. Due to their main flaw being the fact that it's a brand new product. It's like when they went from horse and carriages to the Model T. Not everyone jumped onto the Model T. Oh, trust me. In fact, a lot of people got mad and would destroy their neighbors' Model Ts because they'd spook their horses or something. It took years for the freaking car to take off. This is just another enhancement, another improvement. It will never work for the first year or two. But eventually it will build up. Eventually it will get to the point where it will be able to hold a candle. It just won't be this year. They're expecting by 2030, where this whole thing's supposed to happen, by the way, 2030, in case anyone didn't know. And they're expecting the batteries and the cars to have improved to the point where everybody's going to want one and nobody's going to want an old gas car. And then, well, I mean, guess they're going to all go to the big old recycling yards and be recycled and repurposed. However, those batteries are expensive. They require like gold and nickel and all kinds of stuff in them. It's just, that's opening up jobs too. But so will a lot of the jobs I have, but we're not going to be talking about that because time's up. I was able to steer everybody away from the questions I was asking them for the past half hour. That's right. I purposely asked those questions rapid fire so you guys go and ask them. Because I would lose votes if I answered those questions.
Like I said, there was one topic that I'm glad was not brought up.
So there's a question I need to ask all of you, including Michelle with 1L, Malbear, etc. Should we put this up to a vote? Or do you guys want to think of some more questions to ask us so we can do this again?
I'm thinking a vote because I was running dry without being too, you know.
Well,
Let the viewers have their say.
What the heck was that sound? Necro, jeez,
He just got blown.
man. All right, and with that one, folks, I think it's time for us to ski and daddle. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. If you want to see another one, please say down in the comments below somewhere. And please don't forget to vote in the upcoming election, wink wink, where we will see which one of us, myself, Necro, or Juggernaut, are capable of somehow winning your emotional support and your presidential vote. Which, unfortunately, I think we're all going to need. So until next time, folks, I am Kaiju K.
I'm Necro Nick.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
I'm Michelle with 1L.
I'm Mama Bear.
I'm Died Fisher.
He's sleeping deathgasm.
He's sleepy.
He's sleeping deathgasm, hidden crotch. And for Quabs, Nowhere Fast, and many others. Oh, jeez. We'll see all the future people. I don't want to see this